A very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, and it's exactly on 21, no, is it 0515 UTC, 6:15 New Zealand time. I was gazing out the window looking at the bending trees and thinking I wouldn't want to be Mataiki heading into Auckland tonight. They're about a beam the top of Great Barrier Island at the moment, doing 7.9 because the wind is 20 knots here, gusting 25, possibly a bit more. I haven't seen it recently, but we are really getting buffeted by these winds from the west. That's our worst. Anything from the west is pretty sporty here at Gulf Harbour Radio. Just as well we've got no sails up or laundry on the line. 1012.6, 18 degrees and 80% cloud cover. So it is, well, it's in a good direction for Mataiki, I guess. Clive and Jody coming in, but they'll be pretty pleased to arrive at the customs dock, that is for sure. Looking at the other boats that emailed in, we have Ruffian this is the boat that lost its mast. We have them at 2710 south, 17622 east, and they are steering 245 true, motoring along at 4.5 knots. They're just heading to their waypoint where they'll settle and wait for appropriate weather to get to New Zealand. What they will want is something quite different from boats with masts and sails. I'm sure they will want seas fairly pleasant. Elka is only 20 miles from Opua. Julius will be pleased to get in against this wind tonight. And Camelot, they have got the opposite problem. They are still motoring. They are at 27 degrees 03 south and 17408 east, heading south at 5.1 with the motor still on. 90% cloud cover and 11 knots from the southwest with calmish seas. So things would change if they were a bit further south. They would be not very happy with this wind, but anyway, it will certainly give them something to move along with. Dash is in Whangarei and Bellavita is in Opua. So that's those boats, and everyone is going pretty well. So let's talk to Masterplan, who are very close to home as well. Masterplan, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is Masterplan.
Good evening, Dean. You could probably give a good strong yell from there. Go ahead.
Thank you, Patricia. Reception from what I can hear of you is not good today, so I'll just go ahead and I hope you can hear. Our position 34 degrees 04 south, 174 degrees 28 east. Our course over ground 185 true. Our speed 7 knots, although we are motor sailing at present. The wind is southwest. That's coming 25 to 28 knots at present, with a swell from the southwest of about 1.5 meters, but a sea on top of that swell that is very confused. Clouds about 10% today, and the barometer reads 1017. Over.
Roger, all copied. And for those that are wondering why Dean is coming through so well and I am not to him, is that I am transmitting from Gulf Harbour, so we are too close to him, but I am receiving him from an antenna not too far from Opua. It's at Kaio, so that's why I'm getting him very, very well, because he's just a straight line to the antenna there. So that's interesting, southwest, whereas it's still west here, 25 to 28 knots, and they are at 3404 south, 17428 east, 185 true, 7 knots motor sailing, 10% cloud cover, which is a lot less than it is here, 1017, wow, that sounds a little bit high, and 1.5 metre southwest swell plus confused seas on top of that. All copied, Dean, all copied, and have a good landfall and a rest for customs.
When is landfall?
But go ahead. Sorry?
When is landfall?
He's only 80 miles away. 80 miles away. Okay, he probably doesn't copy me, so that is all copied, and another one at the customs dock before tomorrow broadcast. Obsession, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is Obsession. You copy me, Patricia?
Yeah, very good copy, Lisa. Go ahead.
Oh, good evening. We are presently at 32 degrees 59 minutes south, 174 degrees 09 minutes east, on a course of approximately 160 magnetic, doing 5 to 6 knots. We have 20% cloud cover with a 20 but very gusty southwest, at 2 to 2.5 to southwest 12, but likely to quite a confused sea and a barometer of 1020, over.
1020. God, I might have misread it. Okay, we have Obsession 3259 south, 17409 east, on a course of 160 magnetic, 5 to 6 knots. Only 20% cloud cover, but 20 knots of southwest wind, 2 to 2.5 metre southwest confused seas as well, and 1020. So, well, I'll tell you what, you are getting closer, so that's good. Over.
Yes, at this point we are looking forward to that, Patricia, I must say. Over.
Yeah, what is the ETA? I'm assuming that it's going to stay much the same wind. Over.
We're hoping to be in tomorrow evening at Opua. I was wondering if you're able to just confirm that with customs or let them know. Over.
Roger, no problem. So tomorrow evening, so you'll be ready for clearance on Wednesday morning.
You have some weather
You
issues.
are going to have some weather. I'll just pass the microphone. Are you copying me okay?
Yeah, I copied you loud and clear, and yes, thank you for that, and look forward to hearing the weather. Over.
Well, the cold front, Lisa, is moving a little bit quicker than we thought, and it's actually going to be tickling that Opua area by, looks like about this time tomorrow. Northwest winds. I'll have the full
There's
forecast
southwest at the
in a
moment.
minute. Yeah, well, you may have southwest now, but you're going to have northwest very shortly. So that will drive you in very quickly. Just wait until I'll give the forecast for late Tuesday and into Wednesday as well. But just be prepared to get wet from what I can see. When you say evening, about what time were you talking about? Over.
Well, we're hopeful that it's sort of 1800, but it does depend on what speed, because it could be closer to 2200. Over.
Yep. Well, they'll have the wind better.
Yeah, well, the wind's certainly going to be stronger by then, and that'll get you moving along pretty quickly. But northwest wind, you're going into Opua, you say, well, yeah, you'll be all right with that. That'll certainly get you down the channel. There's no question about that. It possibly may make docking a little bit challenging, but I'm sure you'll manage. Over.
Yes, we thought it might be a bit busy tomorrow, but yeah, well, hopefully all will go all right and we'll be in contact with you tomorrow. But thank you, David, for the heads up that things are coming through a little quicker. Over.
Yeah, well, that wind direction will be good for you and Iron Maiden, who are not all that far from you. So we'll clear with you, but it just reminds me to tell the people who are not used to coming into Opua to just make sure you know what the tide is doing, because it can rip, when you're manoeuvring to go on the customs dock and you have, say, the wind behind you and the tide is pushing, you can get there a lot quicker than expected. We did find that one time ourselves, so I do speak from experience. As our anchor clanged into the concrete piling, it's still got a little spot, which is the chameleon's little groove. So just make sure you do know if you have to turn around or whatever to get on the boat into wind, say, get on the dock into wind, that you know what the tide is doing, because it is rather interesting sometimes. Okay, Iron Maiden, Gulf Harbour.
This is Iron Maiden. Good evening.
Yeah, hello, Margaret. It's good copy from you. Go ahead.
degrees true. We have a southwesterly of 20 knots with gusts of 25 knots. We have about 2.5 metre swell, 50% cloud cover, and 1012 on the barometer. Over.
Roger that. And can you just confirm, are you going to go down to Whangarei or just go straight into Opua? Over.
No, we're going to head straight down to Whangarei. We hope to get there about midday tomorrow. Over.
Roger that. Yep, I thought you would. Okay, 3430 south, 17355 east, 150 true, 6 knots motor sailing, southwest 20 gusting 25 plus, 2.5 metre swell, 50% cloud cover, and 1012. So as you get closer to the land, of course, you are going to get some benefit from that swell, bit of relief. So you've made superb progress from yesterday. By Joes, that's got the good ship Iron Maiden really moving. Over.
Yes, we have to admit we were pleased to get out, so we've been motor sailing pretty much most of the time since David said to put your foot on the pedal. Over.
Yeah, you'll be pleased, you will, when you're sitting at the dock with the weather coming. So, all right, sounds good. So we'll maybe, yeah, just trying to work out what, hang on, I'm just getting my brain around where Bream Head is there. You gosh, you haven't got far to go, so we may not be talking to you tomorrow. But anyway.
It's Whangarei.
Yeah, Whangarei is about 35 and a half, so they've only got a degree to go, and a degree longitude as well. Anyway, what is your ETA, Margaret?
Yeah, look, it's up and down because of this big swell, but we're hoping to get it to Whangarei about midday tomorrow. Over.
Gosh, you said that, and I was looking at something else. Okay, well, good landfall to you, and well done. And yep, enjoy Whangarei, as they say, and I'm sure you'll enjoy a good night's sleep tomorrow. Thanks, Margaret, and we'll go now to the boat behind you from Vanuatu, Coho Gulf Harbour.
Yeah, Gulf Harbour, Coho, I'm here.
Yep, good evening, Gordon and Louise, go ahead.
Well, this afternoon we're at 23 degrees, 52 minutes south, 167 degrees, 59 minutes east. We're steering around 170 true at 6.5 knots. And we've got an east-southeast of about 12 to 15 knots. Seas are about 1.5 meters for the south-southeast. And we've got a 50% broken cumulus sky. Over.
Okay, we have Coho. It's interesting the variation that we've got today. 2352 south, 16759 east, 170 true course, 6.5 knots. Where they've got east-southeast 12 to 15, which is good because it looked a lot less on the GFS anyway, and in fact it looks quite light for the rest for another few days. 1.5 metre south-southeast swell and 50% broken cumulus. So pretty pleasant day aboard. Over.
Yes, the wind is a little bit stronger yesterday. It was a lot of the day at around 8 to 12, and it's up to 12 to 15 now. And yeah, it's nice sailing, so we're going to take advantage of it while it continues. Over.
Yeah, indeed. So that's good. Well, I hope it stays decent for another while. It looks pretty light, but anyway, we'll wait and see what David comes up with shortly. Okay, clear with you. Good signal, by the way. And going to Alula, and then I'll look for Cambria. Alula, go ahead, Jimmy.
Good afternoon, Patricia. It's Alula.
Yeah, good signal, and I'll request now that you stay standing by because I'll probably need help with Cambria again. So go ahead. Over.
Not a problem. Okay, so Alula's position is 25 degrees 37 south, 175 degrees 47 east. We're doing a speed of only 3.5 knots, heading 210 true. Wind speed is about 10 knots from the south-southeast. The sea face is 20% cloud cover, and the bar is sitting about 1013 over.
Yeah, a lot more like the 28th of October than it is down here. 5 degrees 37 south, 17547 east, 3.5 knots on a course of 210 true, 10 knots of south-southeast wind and a half a metre south-southeast swell, 20% cloud cover and 1013. Well, you wouldn't catch a fish with that speed, over.
Definitely, Patricia. You're very right there. No fish on board yet. It's a little bit disappointing, over.
Well, I'll see what the weather's going to do. It's just looking over David's shoulder, but we'll just wait for what he comes up with because it's sort of varying depending on where people are. All right, hi to Gemma, and we'll go now to Cambria and see if I can copy Cambria, Gulf Harbour Radio. Well, again, it's very, very light, so do what you did last night, and Jimmy and I will carefully listen. Over. Yeah, pretty good. I need your course, and the reason I need your course is that the AIS have got you going north. Can you repeat your course, please? Okay, that sounds a lot better than what I was looking at. Cambria is at 1955 south, 16207 east. Doing a good speed of 7 knots on a course of 218 true. They have got southeast 17. I missed the swell, which was in fact southeast, 90% cloud cover and 1012. So pretty good progress from you as well. Over. Yeah, it looks pretty good and continues that way. So all right, we will check in with you again tomorrow. Clear with Cambria. Is there anybody else before I pass the microphone to David? Yeah, hi. I was going to leave you, but I've got good copy on you, Anna. Usually I wait till the end, but go ahead. Over.
So yes, we are at 05 degrees 23 north, 117 degrees 59 west. We are on a course of 092 at a speed of 8.5 knots. The wind is 20 knots from the south, and the sea is about 2 meters. Over.
Okay, well, it's pretty stable, isn't it? 05 degrees 23 north, 11759 west. Still going 090 true at 8.5 knots. 20 knots from the south. Boy, Zumax is loving this. And a 2 meter swell. So it sounds like you will tell me all is well on board. Hope you had a good night's sleep. Over.
Yes, it's much better today. Yesterday was a tiring day. We had a very
Yeah, good news. So, yeah, you're certainly making good progress, so that's really good. Okay, we'll clear with you, and I will. And good signal tonight, though. Usually it's I have to wait a bit later. So, good signal from you up there. Okay, let's go to David, and we'll see what the weather is doing.
Okay, well, I thought that we would start off by looking at the Opua area for tomorrow, since so many of you are just about there. Some of you are there, and some not too far away. Anyway, looking at the morning, tomorrow morning, we're going to start with westerly winds. They'll be about 15 knots. And rising then up to about 25 knots, and that's late morning. Then as the afternoon rolls around, winds are going to be gusting up to 35 knots. That's 5 knots. Those are gusts. That's not a constant wind, but it's certainly enough to get your attention. So that will be in the afternoon. Now the front is moving a little bit quicker than we thought. So you could expect evening rain, and unfortunately with that, we're going to have poor visibility. So like Lisa on Obsession coming in possibly at 10 p.m. Tomorrow, the winds will be okay. They'll be out of the west, so it's not going to bother Obsession. They'll be protected for the most part, but it's the visibility that I'm a bit concerned about. So well, you've been there before, I'm pretty sure, so you know that the area is well lit if you could see the lights. So that's the story for the afternoon and evening. Now the winds stay westerly on Wednesday, and it looks like heavy rain again in the afternoon with a pretty good chance of thunderstorms from what I could see. And winds in these thunderstorms could gust up to 40 knots, 40 knots. Again, those are gusts. But thunderstorms, we still have to be careful with them. We have had a couple of yachts that have just been hit by a few bolts. I think yesterday it was, Patricia was saying. Anyway, by Thursday now, the new high looks to be centered between Australia and Norfolk Island, and it's going to be quite light, probably about 1016 millibar, 1016 millibar. Now the high ridges to the east, and as we said yesterday, the southwest winds from New Zealand up to about 30 south are probably going to be fairly, well, they're going to be all over, let's put it that way. They're going to be south to southeast from 30 south up to 20 south. So I'll say it all again. So if we're looking at New Zealand up to about 30 south, the winds are going to be out of the southwest. So the boats that are coming in from pretty much Vanuatu or any coming in from New Caledonia will be very, very happy with that, I'm sure. And then from 30 south up to 20 south, winds are going to be quite different, south to southeast. So there, I hope I clarified that. Now, up in the islands, it looks like we've got some weather changes up there, particularly on Thursday. Now, the New Zealand frontal band that everybody is going to experience that are coming into northern New Zealand tomorrow, that will have moved very, very slowly, for the most part, east. It's going to extend to Tonga and Fiji, but it's also going to combine with an existing very long trailing trough that's already in place. And that trough starts off as a cold front from a Southern Ocean depression, and it's a big one, and it is sending that trough all the way up to Tonga, Fiji, and all the way up to the Solomons. It's amazing how big it is. And that frontal band is joining hands with this trough. So there is going to be some definite weather activity in the Tonga area. And I think Barry's going up to Wallace and Futuna. There might be some action up there too. Now, we talked about a possible window to New Zealand that I think a few people were talking about Thursday. Some are talking about the weekend. Some were talking about early next week. I'm not so sure now about that with this combined trough that we've got in the Fiji area. Now the band itself looks like it breaks up a bit Thursday and Friday, but there are quite a few areas of cloud clusters from what I could see, quite inclement cloud clusters. So in other words, clumps of cumulonimbus clouds, if you will. And then spaces in between where you've got some clear sky and so forth, and you wonder what the commotion's about. But then when the cluster hits, you'll know. Southeast winds now are going to prevail for quite a long time. They're going to be partly from the high that's moving into the Tasman now and will slowly move east as it dissipates, and then another high forms, and that next high is going to be in the central Tasman, and that will more or less continue southeast winds all the way up to the Tonga and Fiji area. So it will look almost like a continuous southeast wind regime, if you will. Now, the other interesting thing is one of the models, ECMWF, is calling for what I would call a budding tropical cyclone on Wednesday. This would be the 6th, I think, Wednesday the 6th. But its location looks to be just to the southeast of Olofi. Olofi is, they're about 19 degrees 30 minutes and about 170 degrees west. So it looks like that's the center of this tropical cyclone where it may form, according to EC. Now, the other big global model that we all look at is GFS, and it does not call for that cyclone to form in that location or even at all at that time, but it does show some cyclonic rotation to the southwest of that location. So something is changing up there, is about all I could say. So at the moment, it's really too soon to really make a decision as far as making a big passage. It's going to be awfully tempting because of the basically southeast winds that seem to be coming and coming, and that all looks very good. But the worry is going to be what happens in between these isobars, what weather may develop. And even though Thursday's only a couple of days away, you would think the models ought to be able to tell you that. But just remember, it's going to be, for some boats, 6 days, other boats, 9 or 10 days to get to New Zealand. And the models just don't go out that far. Now, just for the fun of it, I took a look at what this artificial intelligence business is telling us for forecasts that go out to 360 hours. That's about 15 days. Now, most of our usual models, the GFS and the EC, go out about 10 days, 240 hours, and they don't go out to 350, 360. But the artificial intelligence, it does. The only problem that I've got Well, I'll back up. First off, they are talking about fairly nice weather out to 15 days. But then I decided to take a look at what they had to say for 10 days. And of course, I was expecting the model to show pretty much what EC was calling off, or GFS, but they were radically different. So, I mean, folks, there you go. Artificial intelligence. Pretty artificial at this point. So, I'm not putting any faith for the moment in the ability of these new models that are coming out to give us any assurance for the future. Ideas maybe, but that's about it. So that's just sort of a light summary of what's going on. We'll know more in the next couple of days, and I will look for how the window may look for those of you that are wanting to get back here to New Zealand. Although, if you, as Patricia said, if you've been having the weather we've been having for the last week, you'll stay where you are. So, anyway, that's all I have. Anybody that has any questions, come now. Oh, and we've got one yacht that's wanting to go from Fiji to Bundaberg, looking for a window there. And again, that's a real tough call because when boats ask questions like that, I need to know pretty much, well, I need to know two things. I need to know your ETA, and that's the most important thing, really. And I need to know when you're wanting to leave. It's nice to say, well, sometime next week, but I'm not going to do the work of calculations. That's up to the people that want the information to put a little bit of effort into it and at least tell me how many days it's going to take you to get there, so that I could not spend time for nothing. So that's pretty much it. I'll pass it over to the chief and see if anything else is brewing.
Yeah, that's quite important because, you know, we're dealing with a lot of boats that range in size from about 35, 36 feet to 60 feet. So there's a big difference in what they will be doing from point A to point B. And there are a couple of people that have voiced concern about, you know, still being up there in November, which of course is the start of cyclone season, but it is the beginning rather than the end or the middle. And we tended to wait till the weather here is settled down, and you'll notice that a lot of people who are fairly experienced do indeed do the same thing. So it's not really a concern. It's just the usual thing. Look at what the weather is doing. Okay, whilst you're sitting there, if you are new to New Zealand, you might want to go onto our website, ghradio.co.nz, and go to Flotsam so that you can have a look at our suggested anchorages for travelling around New Zealand by boat. I know a lot of you will probably be wanting to get away from the boat and do some land cruising or fly home or whatever, but those of you who are going to use your boat and sail around the sail up and down the North Island into the Bay of Islands maybe, but do get out of the Bay of Islands because there's some wonderful anchorages which we discuss on that particular item. I think it's Leave the Dock Behind or something like that it's called, but yeah, it is worthwhile because you've got just some local knowledge there, where to take garbage, where it's good in a blow type thing. So there are books that will give you a lot of information about the Bay of Islands, but not so much on other spots. So feel free to look at that and ask any questions. Okay, is there anybody with anything? This is Gulf Harbour Radio. Yep, Lisa, and I've sent off your information as well as master plan to Customs, so they should know about you. Over.
Thank you so much. Just a quick question. I just might have misheard for David. Was he saying that it's going to be westerly tonight or northwest? We were expecting northwest winds, but I thought I heard westerly, but it could be me. Over.
No, I think he's talking westerly for a bit earlier, and it'll be earlier than you're there. I think it was westerly for Margaret. Stand by.
Yeah, Lisa, the official forecast for for the Bay of Islands area, which is where you're going, it's going to be westerlies. They're pretty firm on that, and we have pretty much westerly at the moment.
Later in the day.
So anyway, that wind was 15 to 25, and then gusting 35 later in the afternoon. So yeah, once that whole system gets into the Bay of Islands, the wind seems to change a bit once you're inside. Ordinarily, you would get northwest winds, and further out, you would get northwest winds. But once you pass 9-pin, I think, and get actually in the bay, I think you'll see a wind change. That's the official forecast. Over.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I was just a bit confused, so thank you for clarifying it. Much appreciated. I'll set it clear.
Okay, yeah, I got a bit confused too. Alrighty. I think that's it from everybody. There's nothing coming through on streaming. Thank you from Parry. Don't know what vessel you are, Parry, but no problem. And we'll talk to you or anybody again tomorrow. And don't forget, if you want anything clarified, just email. So this is Gulf Harbour Radio, and we're clear, and you can have the frequency all night. Cheers all.
Gulf Harbour Radio,
Yeah, go ahead. I've got actually a better signal on you now than I had before. So go ahead, Gordon.
Okay, I just, at the beginning you were, I thought I heard you said that Ruffian Ambo had some problems. Is that a Roger or negative over?
So you're asking about Ruffian, is that correct?
Roger.
Yeah, they lost their mast a couple of days ago, about 25 just south of Minerva. So unfortunately it all had to go to the bottom of the sea. They had a problem when they were disassembling their wing-on-wing rigging, and fortunately they have got fuel from a couple of other boats. I think it was Zippler and Luther, and another boat donated a crew member, so they're now 3 on board, and they were just a bit late to get to New Zealand before another front comes through, so they're heading to a waypoint and then we'll come down from there. Over.
Oh, okay, that's sad news, but anyway, we know of them and met them, so I just heard that. I wanted confirmation, so I didn't worry unnecessarily.
Yeah, no, they are both good, fortunately, so no problems there, but shook up, I'm sure. But and it's nice that they've got a young fellow from the catamaran that was passing. It just escaped my memory now what the name of it was. It was a big cat, and yep. So they're good, and well, certainly the boat. They did some repair work yesterday to, well, it might have been today, to straighten up the bimini and give them a bit of protection before the rain arrives. But no, they sound good on the email. Over.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Yeah, your reception, this is the first time I've had clear reception on you, so thank you, and thank you, David, and we'll talk tomorrow. Over.
Yeah, roger that. Yes, it's interesting. There's quite a difference from, I'm coming through no problem and hearing Zumax way over where they are at whatever it is,
They're South America.
117, yes, west, should I say, and it seems a lot better that direction than it is in the westerly direction, because it's still a bit early in the day for you guys. Okay, cheers to you both. This is Gulf Harbour Radio Clear.